Sidra to Aminata Kamara from the United States of America. It dedicated this song to one of the biggest organizations in the world, Weird.
Yeah, made a crack on the mix.
91 big boy picking.
It's your double tap, see the ball. Daily base, 091. Yellow flag this.
Hallelujah.
Come on. We are the organization. Don't come for every nation. We are the organization. Don't come for promoting nation. They know they mix my politics. They know they pass tribalism. They know they mix my politics. Yeah. They know they pass no tribalism.
This now we hard, duck and now we land. So la we all and fine. This now we hard, duck and now we land. So la we all and fine. Who know they back kapu kapu? We had no mixed bag bamu bamu. We know they back kapu kapu. We had no mixed bag bamu bamu. But tell the brother sister them say we had don't come over.
We are now we are.
Tell them for we, tell them for me say we had don't come over.
We are now we are. We are the organization. Don't come for every nation. We are the organization. Don't come for promoting nation. They know they mix my politics. They know they pass tribalism. They know they mix my politics. Yeah. They know they pass no tribalism.
Big respect to the one who will make Weird team up strong one. Especially to you, by Bure Kablai from the north. And to you, Shenge Pierre from the south. Admi Amina, happy birthday in advance to you, by Bure Kablai from the north. You celebrate your birthday January. Happy birthday in advance to you, Shenge Pierre from the south. You celebrate your birthday December. This organization, the 3 years, December 2022. We dey tell who members them all over the world, thank you. Yeah.
We are the organization. Don't come for every nation. We are the organization. Don't come for promoting nation. They know they mix my politics. They know they pass tribalism. They know they mix my politics. Yeah. They know they pass no tribalism. Let me tell you, wait till we are gonna do for me. They don't change life inside the world country. Number one, they be the poor. They build houses for the affected members for the flooding. Number two, they pay school fees for the one the way them people them evil alone disaster. The people them, we are not come for help everybody in this country. They know they for politics, neither tribalism. We are the organization. We are the organization. Don't come for every nation.
Yes, we are on YouTube and on Facebook, and that's the channel they go on. That's all the organization stuff they go on. The organization basically they help different people. Them you will get problem with your health, you will get problem with your book learning business, you will get problem with your different people. Them, but hey, not to just that to count your problem with the assess some same person watch and find one and know if you meet the threshold. Not to just because you can't say well me people and this way me are also not to so they do things them. So please you get for know that one day. A lot of people don't meet we, but we not able for help them. Plenty people don't meet we. Some people in fact now we offend them because their own case reach waiting we they look for. So not to, just because you want can make with the one for go meet you. So we don't help boku people that way we not able for even content, we not have for even talk about that. We continuously want for the help lots of people. Hey, the channel itself day, of course, 90% of what we talk about get for do the government of the day. Because now they're in a position of trust. We hold them to account. 10% get for do the opposition and any other business. But of course, why would the opposition say for the opposition? Yes, yes, because now they now government and the waiting. So we for all them, then get for no say we ready for them when they take over power, if they get for take over power at all. So that is why it's 100%. And so we the political, okay. And this morning, na Koreas, and we get a lot of things them way down they go all around.
This song
and
come up from Madame Sidra to
the different paper them very sorry about that. And the different paper them don't cook this morning for we. Well, in fact, they don't want mom. They don't want me. Yesterday them cook and them pull on this morning. We can one mama school rest. Eat and pour for proper one. Well, we get somebody we always done the journey inside this particular program. But for now, we keep them inside the kitchen. Let me go straight off and look at what in the different papers them say this morning before ever we come to we guest and can talk about the different things. And the first paper, now the Night Watch newspaper. First of all, before I continue, I want to say sorry for yesterday because we were able to bring the program to you rest. But today we there so it's hot one. In fact, at the area I'm waiting, funk fry at the pot. It's a bit now, eh? Okay, so the Night Watch newspaper, one of the first paper for this morning, say at his last presidential cocktail, Bio says goodbye to journalists, really? And then high-level syndicates at immigration. Jamal Shallow passport saga. Cost of passports is $100. 1,800,000 leones. NAS and partners celebrate World AIDS Day. This another story then there for you inside the Night Watch newspaper. The next pick get for do with the Vindicator. The Vindicator newspaper say UBA receives 2 awards for leadership and business excellence. In desperate need of life support, Sierra Leone's economy in crisis. And Shingli mining pays 1 billion leones surface rent. Ex-President Roma assesses Nigeria's pre-elections. St. Francis celebrates 64th annual speech day and prize giving. And then going to Supreme Court for interpretation of Section 41. Prince Macaulay fights against violation of his right. This another story there for you inside the Vindicator newspaper. The next pick for this morning, now the News Watch, we say millions of dollars poured into education sector. This is the big banner headline. And World Bank approves 100 million to strengthening public finance. This another story there for you inside the News Watch newspaper. The next page, now the Global Times newspaper, we say Dr. Philip Kanu exonerated and reinstated. World Bank approves 100 million grants for Sierra Leone. Garage owners endorse auto-specs. And then Diamond Stars, we are making progress. Samba Kaibanja says. This another story there for you inside the Global Times newspaper. Voice of Salon, the next paper for this morning, said Gento abandons SLPP zonal executive members. And then for interpretation of the legality of independent presidential candidates, Prince Macaulay to seek redress in Supreme Court. And then Sports Committee, chassis SLFNSA, and Sport Ministry officials. And then you get UBA, a proud recipient of 2 awards for business excellence and leadership. Trade and Labour Ministers visit Kisi Industry Company. This is another story there for you inside the Voice of Saloon. Next paper for this morning are the Indigenes. Indigenes say NCPD appeals to government of Sierra Leone for massive inclusion of PWDs in national development. Trade and Labour Ministers conclude successful visit on Kisi Industrial Company. IOM facilitates safe return of 149 Sierra Leoneans stranded in Niger. And then you get UBA received 2 awards for excellent leadership and business excellence. This another story there for you inside the Indigenous. And the next paper for this morning, now the AZ newspaper, we say World Bank $100 million grant for President Bio. President Bio emerges African leadership chairman and champion. And then you get Morocco Oil and Gas companies signed MOU with Bio's new direction. You get GPE announces over $21 million grant for Bio's free quality education. Sorry about that. And you get 2023 messianic figure charms citizens, donor partners with fiscal discipline. You get media poverty remains endemic in Sierra Leone, Dr. Francis Sowa. And then the Anna Kolomane School APC members in Kono on Justice Fisher's ruling. And ECSL updates UN ECOWAS on 2023 general election. This is another story for inside the AZ newspaper. The next speak na the Calabash West Charity Hospital offers free orthopedic and cardiology screening and treatment. And then you get in Diang and Sambaya chiefdoms, Shengli Mining Company pays 1 billion leons as surface rent to landowners, and they get over legality of independent presidential candidate Prince Jacob Macaulay to seek Supreme Court's interpretation of Section 41. And you get NATCA, NMLs, CSOs agree to normalize tariff. And then you get NP Sierra Leone highly acclaimed as a viable and sustainable oil marketing company. Then you get MRCG unveils State of the Media report 2018-2021. Legal link exposes ECSL violation of sections 27.5 of the Public Elections Act of 2022. This and other story day for you inside the Calabash newspaper for this morning. This is a program called Rest Right on YouTube and on Facebook. And then the next pick for this morning, now the open space where say NACIT uphold President Bio's social security drive with improved donor confidence. World Bank approves 100 million for Sierra Leone, $100 million. President Bio education drive results in GPE's $40 million commitment. EU and government all talk on variety of mutual interest. This is another story for you inside the open space. And the next paper, an independent observer, we say Shengli Mining Company pays over 1 billion for surface rent, and they get arrested for stripping man naked chief on the run. And you get IDA director engage government on World Bank financing policy, bench warrants for Capital Finance CEO. This is another story at the Independent Observer. And the next pick gets to do with the Aruko newspaper, where say MMTU courts reinstate Dr. Philip Conte. Finance Minister seeks World Bank support to access concessional funds. And then you get Parliament halt budget discussion until we they look into all of this there. This is another story there for you inside the Aruko newspaper for this morning. And the next pick for this morning gets to do with the Salon Times, we say a show of confidence, $100 million grant for Pauper government. African dance all king to rock salon in EcoFest. Shengli Mining Company pays over 1 billion leon surface rent. And Craving for Development hosts symposium on strengthening agri-food supply chain in Africa. This is another story for you inside the Salon Times. And the next page for this morning, now the Concord Times newspaper. The Concord Times newspaper say report reveals unequal treatment of military women in peace operations. And for APC Secretary General lawyer Lance Boya enjoys grassroots approval. We now have 3 million children going to school. Then the quotes Professor Alpha Wuri. And then you get World Bank approved $100 million for strengthening transparency, accountability, and growth of 5.7% in the West Africa Economic and Monetary Union in 2022. This and other story there for you inside this morning edition of the Concord Times newspaper. Well, we can go straight to we guest for this morning. The guest for this morning, now great man where don't they do a lot of things them for make sure say the work go on how it's supposed to go, and don't they do in own little bits with a finger, with in pen for make sure say yes the way out the country for go it go so that right way. And as well this post here don't appear and don't do lots of things in it. Now Lawrence Williams now it work for Freedom Post, and in the big man na Freedom Post. We don't join me inside the program this morning. Lawrence, welcome again to this Coolest edition.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to viewers and listeners across the globe.
All right, Lawrence. Sorry, and we know say and thank you. Let's just say thank you because we know say you get a very busy schedule, but you make it possible for let you able for at least talk to it this morning. From the background self, I make her feel jealous. Say now, anytime I watch your background, I feel jealous because I see the natural, the nature, the natural part of everything inside you see don't say right now. And I hope say you get a nice day.
Oh yes, yeah. It's a beautiful
All
morning,
right.
yeah.
So we could start actually with the paper them this morning. The first pick I will take now the Concord Times. We say you can follow this issue of peacekeeping mission.
Yeah, I can follow them. Say we don't work, especially when you don't become a political or social commentator. I mean, you supposed to know all things, even though no go before know, but you supposed to know all things, supposed to follow the trends, follow news and everything.
So this story they carry, this paper they carry, Concord Times they carry say unequal treatment of military women. Basically, the way they treat military women, them where they go on peace operation, them as equal as the how they treat men. Them you see that by way of selection, you see that by way of just different things. Them how you view this story?
Well, first off, the paper attributed to a report. The said report, they don't make and publicate, but of course, the editor and my colleague, I will try to get on to her, and I will give you details of feedback from when they inside the report. If I will get a copy of an electronic copy or hard copy, I will share with you as well. But basically, what is here for saying that there is this sort of discrimination, if you will put on that way, in terms of how they treat women them where they go for peacekeeping mission. And even when you look at the number of women the way they because they get a selection of process, they get criteria, they can even go through some training them. Especially for the police, they can go through training, even the military, because now the country they go represent. Now the flag of Sierra Leone, the government and people of Sierra Leone they go represent. And all this come about as a result of the fact that during the third wave Sierra Leone be there in the own turbulence period, then countries and within the African region, then they also contribute troops them for support to peace process now. So that I make in turn and say one good turn deserves another. So we say they contribute troops them for go and support and peacekeeping missions them in Somalia and other places them. And frankly speaking, with troops that they perform excellently. In fact, I can tell you, say, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, in the head Amazon Somalia, but they had a whole team way, even with man they all day under them. Normally, when they can go out, they excel. But there are issues when it comes to domestic security, policing, and about.
Well, that's what we see Salon people self generally. When they walk other side out of the country, then they do well. But the minute when they come back, say they can give back to the country, no problem. You did it?
Well, that's as a result, by my observation, as a result of the structures, them, say they're not going to allow you full autonomy, independence for work how you supposed to work. You get political considerations where you think about, you get the external influences there as well, which can come and affect your job. And you want to maintain your job because, if some man say you don't do this, if your boss person say you don't do this, and they pull you for the work, I will make them then transfer you something, go now remote side. Let's take this man, for example, when I be the deputy spokesperson for the Sierra Leone police. And during this Sovola period, Sayo Kamara, now be the deputized Brahma Kamara. When he talking at even interview, say they're not being supposed, say the police, they're not being supposed for court LG in here. That was wrong. The next moment we'll see they transfer the mango na
village.
One village na Lunge. So that's not the kind of situation. I make we people are not excel in confidence because I mean the they not get free hand for do the work as per waiting the terms of reference or condition or code say them for act, and then get the influences, then they try for satisfy them boss learn and not lost their job or learn and not satisfy. So all the things that the 19 they are placed. Now make a governance system get problem. That's why one big problem. All learn nepotism, the political interference and all of that stuff in the 1990 make we country really get problems. Really. But we excel out. So the female contingent of the ICLAF, Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, where the report they highlight say they're not given fair treatment. They highlight say even when it comes to the selection, at the end of the day, when you see the batch or the contingent where can go, the man themselves will pass the woman then. But until now they don't pass the gender act, so they expect say at least the female representation. Now the contingent where they go for peacekeeping mission go increase, because they self need money for putting in their pocket. Because I tell you for free, when you go to mission and this, by the time you done you 2 years term or 2 years 6 months, when you come, believe me, that money we go to save, it pass waiting you go to work now for 30 years. So you see why I make all man plenty people waiting at the first in fact for go peacekeeping mission, because when they go get there, I mean, it's huge, it's substantial. At least it will establish a livelihood, a sustainable livelihood for himself. Again, there are concerns about the process back again. Before this time, complain they come out say, okay, some anger for bribes, some anger for giddy, some anger for that, some anger for please this person before they're able for putting at the final list. All them complaining all the time. But you know, the military in our institution way, now I would say the military they try to open up to public scrutiny. Before this time, now that kind
of secret society.
Yeah, bureaucratic secret society where the business not for them a public domain. When they do enough for concern civilian or what have you. So so gradually, I think with some reforms, legal reforms, institutional reforms, the way they take place, and gradually, and with the autonomy, with the free hand, for let them operate as independent as they should, while they are performing their constitutional duty as well. I think all of them things and they go help for enhance the military in prestige and try to resolve their issues than this. But again, I know say the military they get a very strong media team. No doubt, I can tell you for a fact. They get a very strong, formidable communications or public relations unit where now senior military personnel they head them and they are well educated and get the academic qualification and everything. Then go down see this report with them remote respond or rare.
Okay, let's look to the next story we get for the World Bank and the government of Sierra Leone. Basically, then they talk about this $100 million where they approve. Well, some people they say this now sort of confidence for the government. You know, they show how best our World Bank still get confidence. But if you look at this thing, they say for strengthening transparency and accountability. Yes, on natural resources. So some of the sorts. Yeah, we see who said this government they actually promise, say they go utilize the benefit of the natural resources for the people of this country. But we don't see some amount of lack of transparency in that area there. So you feel say this money when they give now because of confidence when they get on the government, or like they already put them when they already don't get them say now for strengthening the transparency and accountability within this sector here. So what does this mean for the country, in terms of transparency and accountability?
Now we have to understand few things. I don't remember the report name. There is one report when at the US State Department they pull away and talk about the lack of transparency in with natural resource governance. The way they handle issues them proceeds from the mining sector, for example. They contract them, how investors they come, how their agreements they can be developed, how their agreements they translate into benefits for the people and particularly chiefdoms. Because when you go now, plenty of the mining communities in a salon, you go wonder if now when they pull the bauxite, or if now they pull the diamond, or if now they mine the gold, or if now they mine this and that. Because those communities are really poor. Them potated. In fact, when you see the road force for West Island community, and you go ask yourself, what are we getting from all of the natural resource? And the state objectives under natural resource governance, where they in our 1991 constitution, it's enough for harness the natural resources for the benefit of the citizens, for provide we with good welfare services, electricity, education, health, you name them. So the World Bank, now you get processes and procedures where the Bretton Woods institutions they always follow. I could recall way back in 2019, where the Minister of Finance, J.J. Safa at the time, and the bank governor, they write to the CEO or head of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, who was before that time be the head World Bank, because there was some issues with that World Bank ease of doing business report where they manipulate figures for China. Now in pull and they can go now na IMF. So they write to them for they renew the extended credit facility program with Sierra Leone, wherein the IMF go to give Sierra Leone that budgetary support for recurrent and capital expenditure, mainly capital expenditure. Now, based on that, IMF they now react with during the early stages of the COVID period, you see where they may approve that money, about 220 million or so, where they may give a salon. So then there are ways to see now. This are the second to last stage. They are seeing the way the process don't start. They don't start years or 2 or 3 years ago. One, they don't identify all of their lapses there now in natural resource governance sector, particularly the mining industry and the extractive industry, so to speak. Now, so the extractive industry. Now, I make you get this extractive industry transparency initiative (EITI) program. Yeah, I don't know if people don't go there, but wherein we become transparent and accountable with when they happen at the extractive industry, because all of them minerals will with it, where they extract. Now the raw manufacture, now the raw material industry number we get. Another manufacturing industry for transform them products their raw materials into finished goods, so go add value into them. They will able for attracting forex for them. So they find out, say, for example, the iron ore, the raw where they call out the pool now, we send out go China or other countries. Then they go process and they make iron rod, they make zinc, they make nail, they make plenty other things. Then they send them back, they can sell and give it at a higher cost. So it's unfair to us, the citizens. So all of them things there are for improved transparency in that sector, the extractive industry, particularly with regards to the natural resource governance, because it took people don't understand plenty things around them. So this morning, them don't start that process long before this time. Now the World Bank don't approve. They don't approve. That approval now the second to last stage. The last stage now where World Bank will now disburse the money. They disburse the money. And even when they don't disburse that money, they definitely they go for the monitor, therefore they get requests for reports or updates from the Sierra Leone government on how they utilize that money there, and definitely within time they will go for
the question where I will ask now, for let a government be accountable, or for let a sector be accountable, for transparent and be accountable, now pass then give them more money for that.
This is a problem we cut across many African countries. Transparency is how I would define them. I want to find a simple definition or description for transparency. It's like you dinner host with your family. You being the breadwinner, you being the man, Then human they work. Human we work on they count in paycheck. Say na 2,000 leones they pay me every month done. You now we month done, they pay you 5,000. But because you don't want to do certain things at the home, you want to transfer some of them burden and they to the web, or for just escape some of their responsibility then they, you now falsified or forge a story, cook up and so you say, well, me at 3,000 they pay me, but you know they ever produce that you paycheck of 3,000 will not ever see them. So you force the family now for belief. So the fact that they highlight this particular support, they go towards improving transparency and accountability in natural resource governance tells you there is a lack of transparency and accountability in that particular aspect. So now make the degree now. Follow it. Now the money can go towards, for example, it can go towards some kind of institutional reform. It can go towards some form of legal reform, for example. And this year they don't review and pass the Mines and Minerals Development Act, where Parliament don't pass. I don't know whether President Bill don't sign them. Now, recently, you will see now some of the people where one mining company go pay surface rent, go pay this, go pay this. Now, when you look at that money, they can go pay so. You will see 1 billion old loans or 1 million new loans. Now, imagine 10% they go to Paramount Chief, for example. 5% or 10% they go to Member of Parliament. Well, for one thing, I mean, these things should not be happening. And at the same Parliament, I pass the law than they will.
And so look at this thing. That. This exact way you talk about, they inside the Calabash newspaper and other paper, the way they carry this same story, where they talk about this 1 billion loans, you know, where they pay, you know, to surface rent to the company now, Shengli mining company, anyway, then pay them to 2 chiefs of them, when Diang and Sambaya. So yeah, you just talk about this money where you go to Paramount Chief. So the money where they go to Paramount Chief, now for the chiefdom development or now for in your pocket?
Well, now PC they go to, I don't know whether, because there is a provision, they get a basket fund as well, where certain percentage of their money they go towards development, they get a development fund for each their mining community, and they get a basket fund for community development as the case may be. So I don't know why money for the go to them people and they, you get me. Then besides that, 1 billion loans. Now small money, now chicken change. I'm telling you, my brother, now chicken change. Now chicken change. Now the only thing are the lack of transparency, bruh. Now chicken change. It not happen in other countries. I tell you, let me tell you this. A better World Bank give this money. Because we're going to highlight some of them things there. And I saw the highlight on AYV and I've even write on the paper. Now, Parliament was it early this year or late last year? Parliament do a fact finding. The Committee on Mines, and I've been a joint committee on Mines and Mineral Resources, Committee on Water, Environment and Sanitation and what have you, them been go do fact finding for no one thing that be the cause for that pollution at Taya River, or we can call Jong River. Now one of the longest rivers then, from the north they go to the south. So because the water be don't dirty, don't change color, at some point Taya the community around Taya River, cholera outbreak been burst, then you may get some picking the way dies. Some adults the way died. So the member of Parliament from that chiefdom he go complain to Parliament saying that this constituency they face away they call. So Parliament the Speaker now put together a committee and send them for good fact finding. Now when they came back, they presented their report. The report, when they find out now that you get Chinese, you get Turkish nationals then, you get Ghanaians, you get Liberians them, we engage in large-scale illegal mining activities in them places and they will don't lead to the pollution of Tara River and other water sources them where they serve several communities and chiefdoms them from the north onto the south side that all these are they run. And now the report said the member of parliament said they interview them the illegal miners there where they see they use every machine, then dredge, then all that things there. They know bing say them people are not getting no license whatsoever. They not get no certificate from mine. There is no agreement between parliament and the so-called companies the way that they say that they represent whether they mine and everything. Nothing so far, no day. Now illegal large-scale mining they activity that they do. Yet the parliament up till now, my brother, up till this very moment where they talk, parliament no act upon that report. The National Minerals Agency, because part of the recommendations are for calling the National Minerals Agency, the Mines Ministry, and others them for looking into that issue. They up till now, no action has been taken. And in fact, at some point, the part of the recommendation say the paramount chieftain and then chieftain and they all start illegal mining. They when they call them for someone in a parliament. Up till now, no action has been taken. Why? Because you get authorities there where they benefit from their illegal mining activities. Then why the people that they suffer, the people that they perish. My brother, if you see the way our water sources they don't become so polluted, not fit for outside fish, they all be they breed, all inside they everything don't well because of their activities, illegal mining activities of their so-called foreign nationals and the Chinese, the Turkish nationals, Ghanaians, Liberians.
Okay, so look at this thing. Look at this thing. You know why you think say every day you dey see, for example, the Chinese go say they donate to we country. This go come and say they donate. You go see all over so donation they go on. You think say na for nothing or na for protect this the illegal activities them?
Simple. It's simple. That answers the question. Nobody know they do nothing if you know they get something out of it. For instance, elect we. No. And because they know when they do na the country. And
so in other words, they go give me like 100 million or billion or 100 million in dollars, whereas then they do illegal things then when they make almost $1 billion, you know, out of real resources just because they don't give you small money, we're not able for biting. You can't bite the finger that feed you.
No, but they are not feeding us. That is not true. I mean, that time will not go suffice in this case because can you imagine? You know that the thing is we selfish, we greed, we political system, everything rotten, and that makes everything. I mean, Sierra Leone go come on here, they go do illegal mining in China, you know, crazy. Sierra Leone go come on here, go do illegal mining na Ghana, you know, crazy. Sierra Leone go come on here, go do illegal mining in Liberia, you know, crazy. Even the Liberian citizens, the Ghanaian citizens, the people and they protect their citizens. Them. We not patriotic, and it starts from the leadership. Because you cannot be aware about them things here and don't take action on it. Go to the parliament, you never go see all of these things here. They even snap pictures there between them, put another report there where they call. My brother, you refuse to act on it. That's a very big shame on all of them.
So look at this thing for the parliament. Not for today parliament they do oversight. Then comes you don't pay the report, nothing not come out of that day. Parliament they go do oversight. Even the money where they give them for go do oversight for in terms of the party and the whole thing. For even reports on that day, they're not able for do that day. Reporting, you know, financing, all of that, and they find their way inside the audit report. Where 10 out they're not able for discuss it. So this not a new thing because they're all guilty of one way of the same thing one way or the other.
My friend, that is the situation. That is the situation, brother. That is the situation we saw in this country. But some anything they always talk, some people say no more, now government no like away they call. But then thing it dives deep into the sustainability of the environment and the state as well. It creates problems. How can you have foreigners them they collude now with your own local authorities them where they mind and give them pretense, just say, oh bra all list or chief all list or lawmaker all list. Or minister, you get this way they come. Then why should it ruin the environment? Take all of those ones go, the community left in ruin. Nothing, no livelihood for the people left. We wicked. I'm telling you this, my brother. I watched one video where they interview somebody in Dubai. Where they talk how Dubai don't transform into when Dubai days so today.
Yes, from desert.
It's one great thing. Dubai discovered oil. Now one great thing they get to now oil. make a comparison. Nigeria, they don't discover oil even before Dubai. But look how Dubai done it today. Look, Nigeria still at the first another oil region. Day. It all boils down. I say the same way they get where they're blessed with now leadership. Good leadership. Good leadership. Now they transform countries. Salone and plenty other African countries there. Now poor, wicked, greedy, selfish leadership there now we get. Look the case of Sudan and South Sudan. They fought over oil after they discover oil and okay, they say okay, let them separate. Sudan go their way, they create South Sudan out of Sudan. Now even when they created South Sudan, al-Bashir and others, they are still fighting back over the way they call. They are still fighting. They are still fighting. Why? Because one day I want to take all things put in my pocket, still millions, for benefit millions of people. They don't mind for go build glass house na state. They don't mind for take and go put on a British Virgin Islands. And then governments are corrupt. So look at the British government, for example. They created a tax haven, they created a safe haven for corrupt officials in government in Africa and Asia where they don't keep big money. You can run, we go keep a day. Then if they say, when you die no more now, it belongs to the British people. You can imagine all of those ones.
No, but I'm not sure said now that they're not the problem. I think that we own problem. That's stupidity from your
yeah, that is how,
you know, we get your host, for example, are the thief something inside the host, go keep an your host. Of course, what do you want? You self want for the benefits come. May not get all what you get because you're not able to know how to manage them, because you don't get sense. You all can you imagine? We got how many kind of resources, minerals in this country, but every day we country with the get bigger.
27 or 29 of the world's most precious minerals in Sierra Leone.
Very well, but every day with the bigger. As we talk so now by these guys, we dey under austerity where the government no want for pronounce because themselves they try for cut down. But interestingly, then they talk about cutting down. We know say the world problem dey. All country they try for make sure say they put things them in place. You can see, for example, the president of United States, the president of France, the president or the prime minister of UK, the pass number just like that they go and bigger all along. They don't get what it take. They only depend on we the Africans, therefore we provide the resources for them. We get everything that we own hand. But yet still, every day they pinch small thing give we. Then they control the government and economy, how will they go back? If not, you go out. Because we don't get this, we get what it take for move, but we don't get a sense. We lack independence and we mind.
Well, we're not lacking that selfishness. I'm saying all boils down to corruption. Now corruption, I know the problem in Salone in Africa. Corruption are the major thing. Let me tell you, corruption in China na death penalty. Corruption in Singapore, you don't try it. You don't try it. Na death penalty. You get countries that will maintain death penalty for corruption. You can imagine China about 2 or 3 years ago, they hang one mayor, a female mayor for one province where they found her guilty for corruption. But yet the people they come and they can't corrupt here because why? Because the system is already corrupt. We leaders are already corrupt. They know that. They know say Africa will corrupt. Now that makes them not mind that they can't bribe their way, do the way they call for go and reach their country. That is what they are doing. Because we leadership corrupt. We not ever get right leadership at this part of the world. We not ever get right leadership. Salone leadership corrupt since independence. Since Albert Magai. Because Mr. Magai did a lot. Since where Albert Magai take over, now in this country it's upside down. Chakasivi, Inkajoka, Skatayam. Janka Abaka struggle. Okay, and let's come back and say, do your bit. Then we can look at the economy. You just mentioned about the economy. Yes, there is a global crisis. We can't deny that. But I mean, given that all when we get now country, that's all not for the suffer, bro. We're not for the suffer. They talk about food security, but you have about 66% of the population where they face starvation, where they face hunger, where they face food insecurity. Look at the bony lands the world gets. Nothing is coming out. There you go. Say China don't give you almost tractor. China. It's not about China don't give you this. China don't.
No, but
give
it's
you.
still that they give you all of them tractor they also, but at the same time, now grass now they end up for group and them.
How many acres of land have they cultivated? Look at the summer boom from where they launch them. $34.something million projects like that. I mean, from where they launch up to now.
All right.
The president somewhat
let me look at this story quick one. It gets linked with what we talk about already. Look at IOM facilitates safe return of 149 Sierra Leoneans stranded in Niger. Now, look at this. A lot of every day, you get with Sierra Leonean brothers and sisters them. Now the Kuwait, now the Oman, now the how you call them Qatar, Dubai. All of them side there, so the Middle East. Where then they go stranded. Then you hear every day say this not the problem waiting at their side and day. But because of the kind of economic difficulty we they face with our country, not to today no more, then still they go. We get living testimony of people the way they don't go, they don't broke their finger, they don't burn their body, they don't even some people that they throw away them from building condom, all of this thing. We see them videos a day, but with people them still they go and now then they go stranded. This not in lead to waiting we be they talk about so Jesus now. Because if we get sense in we leadership, or we not selfish, we not think about themselves. Think about the economy, think about the country, think about the people. I'm not sure person go have for left, who say they get employment and get safety in country, they go waiting in other country where you not get anything at the end of the day, na sufferness and cry. Then they go get for the part. The other day we see the minister of labor say that they put together a project for this thing here. How they pass, how they not pass, we know hearing nothing. Still people in the small with people and for go pa then slavery things they are so. Where if before say that they tell them say that they go do this. Where they go now, na different thing that they go do. End up a problem. Use them by force. Mommy and daddy business. All of them problem they are so surrounding them kind things they are so. Now we get IOM waiting at the center every day. Algeria they cry, Tunisia they cry, all side, all over they cry, Turkey everywhere they cry for return back because of the kind problem where they face.
Now, let me tell you, even if we see, God forbid, even if they cut them throat them, God forbid, they cut person throat live one at the places and this, we will always, the people will always want for go steal. That is in order for stop them. They don't suffer abusive, violence, maltreatment, or what have you. Plenty people don't they can where I am don't they bring by batch. They get a repatriation program or package for them where they can give them small support for go start some business or what have you. Plenty people they can they share their stories, but then they not go ever deter people them from going out of the country because the thing is the perception is that because that places that they already developed, so the possibility or the chances for make a good living for come and develop itself now later in the country is greater than where you remain now. My brother, they tell you, the sufferness within us alone not easy. The sufferness. Sometimes me tell God thank you. About the bad thing, I must eat for the day. But you get people bruh, you get people where no they get time. They get time. I'm telling you, when you go offline, go places them, you they see poverty what? You go shed tears. You just see people there. They're not get back na foot. They're not get close na body. They're not get to assist na waist. What still? They're not get draws na the waist. You go
then you begin watch now the water where they drink. A fever chocolate. You begin look now.
You go watch the outside of the toilet.
Yes. The sanitation. You know. I don't see, for example, very, very close to within that 4-mile axis. We go do one small documentary there. Can you imagine? Me sit down at the water, at the was. Then this person just can make the water so make the water so take a beginning. I say, now this is the drink. He say yes. Now the drink. He say, now ask him back. Now we for was I say yes. Una was no more. You imagine? Imagine who's kind sometimes kind wahala we be the waka with. Sometimes who's kind big pen that I get na me foot. We get all kind of thing. Then you come back, you make so. This very close to freedom. This is showing you the level of poverty where they smell power. Look at this story, now the vindicator. He say in desperate need of life support, Sierra Leone's economy in crisis. Are you sure some of the inside crisis?
Crisis is an understatement. Okay, now let me give you a descriptive picture. Now, during the after the war, Jankaba, you know, say do a lot of reforms, set up institutions there, like the NACIS, the NRA, and all that things. They do a lot. Then anyway, by the time Jankaba left, the economy is a bit where you dress trophy shirt. You could less the shirt. So the economy been mixed together. It been better. It been coatless. So you see, at least you go appreciate this economy then dress well. Now when Ernest Koroma took over, throughout the 10+ years we do, at some point the economy it could less fine for at some point now
Alright, the line of Hollande. The line of Hollande basically.
During second time, we call then pull the shirt. Now jeans was yes, and it's for my time. In all the coatless, the economy wear jeans was it, a wear polo. Now when this government took over, from 2018, April 2018 to now, the economy now short thrust is now way, a boss. Then the polo way, now wrong side turn the polo. So they don't turn the economy wrong side. Now make everybody concerned. I don't know whether you understand why I bring this kind picture, this kind analogy, using a dress code. I mean, for analyze or describe economy from Pakaba to current time. Now, for give family a clear picture that during Pakaba in time, economy was relatively better. Of course, when we just come up a war, there was a lot of support. Then it also seek for debt relief and all of that stuff. But again, relatively, Salon be the darkest country in the world. Lights not been getting anything. If lights come, now opportunity. We lights are where people at the Allah lights don't can you see say now Leone don't score. Then not so much roads are not been there so. But if you don't lay the foundation in there, because if you don't stick most of the roads there, they don't get the agreement, do visibility study the way they call now disbursement, some will be the wait for and everything. So when Ernest Koroma came, he met all of those plans afoot, and he tried to roll them out. Electricity improved on and greatly. We see a lot of other things, then reforms the way it do. He only messed up in his second term, the latter part of his second term, when corruption became so much rampant and the ministers then become so arrogant. I don't know how to put ourselves. Everybody now be just a tif pattern. So he be lost control over administration. Now, this regime criticized Ernest Koroma for a bloated cabinet when they made the opposition. They criticized him for excessive spending, especially when expenditure passed revenue mobilization. So all of basically now be the economy now be the most heated debate. You get me? And one of the reasons that will make Leoneans decide, say, because of all of these arguments put forward by the opposition then, and the solution, the solution where them prefer, let we give them chance, let we see. Okay, so they gave them this chance, voting them into office. They were supposed to fix the economy. And because that was in fact the key promise. When they came in, the very first thing, now for appointing more people fast waiting and Ernest Koroma be ever appointed. Today we have an overbloated cabinet.
But what they say as Sierra Leone and they give job?
No, of course they are Sierra Leoneans. But I mean, most of these political appointees, my brother, not a chicken change they get to. We're not jealous them, no nothing.
Okay.
But how do you cut down on expenditure? You can't be criticized for overseas trip where them they fly go New York 50 man, fly go and go down center. You've made over 100 trips Lord have mercy. But if you never pass 200 pesos out, because I've actually lost count of the number of trips that have been made out of this country by this country. A good number of trips. And when they see the Africanist press, where fortunately get access to all of those documents, then details and the transaction details, how the money they fly from one account to account, how do they pull money in a bank of commercial bank of salon, how do they pull money, authorize this person for go take, you go take 100 yanda, you go take almost million yanda, you go take. So when they see all of these excessive withdrawal, you get me, from the treasury. Take out money and the way they pull out the treasury for center frivolous things. It should not, those money should be going into agriculture and other things because for the free education you
no, but we don't hear you. For example, Marabio himself don't come up and say now the new name number where they can call, where they can say 10 million. Some people now they can't come to offend we say but not to better money.
Not to better money. For we not better money. For we not better money there. The millions and millions and billions of money where they don't withdraw on travel expenses no more alone, my brother. Travel expenses alone, can transform a whole community.
Okay, I just want for one with you for sake of the time because you self get another busy schedule for another thing for good. Let's just dip you into this thing. We still need to talk about this salary and other things then. Interestingly, I listened to one member of parliament, Mr. Donna 98, the other day, they talk, say salaries, they come on time and other things then. But I shock for see, I will co-publish this thing, say parliament halt budget discussion until, Larry briefly, waiting this story they talk about. They say, Sierra Leone's, in his usual, basically the speaker, in the usual, comment where he can make, Honorable Abass Bundu, assures, say they no go see in for authorize any process or for authorize the committee on supply for make them continue or let them begin the process for look into the budget discussion. He say because they need for address their own problem first. That is to say, they need for look at how they forgive them sitting allowance them, how they for give them other related, expenses them, where for make the parliament run smooth one. So if we talk about the parliament, they say then the strike because they not give them sitting allowance and other expenses. So they not for do budget discussion. In other words, because they not give them sitting allowance, then the only country to ransom. They not make them do any budget discussion and approve any money for anybody. What did this mean? For a parliament they strike like this. Because na strike, then just no one for putting the word say with a strike. But na strike for let them say, we not commence until you give this. Because this week you see, like for example, Sierra Leone days here, they talk about say, give us our money. Yeah, or we do this. Now the same thing the speaker said do so. Then the strike say they no want for do the budget discussion until they give them the money. What did this mean? This just speak the facts to the economy what they talk about.
Now, it's not just about parliament. If I come to parliament, let me tell you one thing we don't have for me to observe. You will see every year parliament will approve XYZ amount for the different MDs, the ministries, departments, and agencies. Mm-hmm. It may surprise you to know that when you go to the agencies and the MDs and they sometimes 6 months, first, second quarter, 6 months into the year, and they will tell you, from when the year begin, will not receive any budgetary allocation. So you cannot be approving budgetary allocation to ministries. There you know they disperse the money.
Hold on.
Get me?
Hold
now
on.
Let me
Hold on. Them budgets where they can approve. Them ministries, as you say, don't talk about them. Not they receive money 6 months, 2 quarters inside the year, 3 quarters inside the year. But we still see the Ministry of Finance, they come back and say, Parliament, that money will not be approved. Do we want more.
So, and I under the question, like, in fact, during the budget, during the budget discussion, na Ministry of Finance, I be asked Patricia Lavali, somebody who is the director of budget or whatever you, now a woman with the head that unity. I be asked a very good question because from the Ministry of Finance, their own budget when they present to the I call a non-state actors the way they call.
Mm.
One of the things where I pick up now that the previous year, the Ministry of Finance spend past when in Parliament we allocate to them.
Mm-hmm.
They spend way about 20 or 30% more of when in Parliament, and that will be unauthorized expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been posed the question, say, whether they be actually get authorization, because any money so far where you put out the consolidated fund for spend for the purposes in the constitution say Parliament for that approval. If Parliament not approve, no MDA no right for spend.
Then we don't go refer to that as illegal spending.
Yeah, now illegal expenditure. So they were not supposed to do that until they actually get approval from Parliament. But they not be get approval. And when the woman, the response was the authorization they come out from State House. So we don't see now the case of the parliamentarians a little bit different. And it was in the second or third quarter of this year, then we go secretly go introduce one welfare bill where they ask for $10,000 for motorcar, for medical allowance, for this, for
the
that.
Parliamentarians.
Yes, so I be right on that. I write that for you. So when because the thing will leak. So when we put that down, they can attract a public discussion, public debate, where they call them, we put on hold, let me suspend them. So when they fight for Sona, let me tell you, my brother, they are fighting to get a bumper, a fast cash. So in case they not come back in Parliament, they get I will call it the pension or they after seeing no more where they forget therefore extra up. Now in the effect for so right now, let me tell you. Not that they are not getting their allowances or what have you, city allowances. No, they are getting it. They want for increase them according to the welfare. The welfare. Now in they look after. And where they hold the executive to ransom, the executive will do one thing necessary for give the when they want to, then go pass when the executive want. So they are only fighting for their own interest. It's all about it. In fact, some time ago, the speaker they don't say they go invoke that section then at the constitution we say Parliament for determine what they call a salary or a
you
monument.
See, this is not the thing about the country. I listen to
right now.
I listened to one member of parliament from Gambia, a female member of parliament, where basically they talk about how they're not going to steal from the people. In other words, they're not going to then a parliament for enrich themselves at the expense of the people. The people where then they represent, they suffer, but then they ace their own salary just like that. But in our own parliament, we see everybody happy about that. From the speaker take them down because they want, like you rightly say, where they go, if they're not able to come back, they don't get opportunity for come back, they will continue for the enjoy the riches from the sweat of the people. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And this is very sad. It's very, very sad. This just speaks to the volume, say, to the fact that these people, that is why you see most people right now, they want for going to politics. Because they feel saying that the easy way that they for make money. If you can do any other thing inside the country, you know be protected and you don't get money. But when you go into politics, you just get easy access or easy way for be rich at the end of the day. In the AAE, at the you know, even when you see people and they suffer just like that. It's very sad and it's just too sad. So
that's not really the set to Brian, that's no more. That's the best they set for. Then nobody know like that anybody. That's no more best they set for. And speaker we don't talk. And we don't talk. And when it comes to that, you see they get one word. They're not going to talk now. I can give you another scenario. Remember, there was a time in 2018. Was it about 3 months after this regime we don't take over power, where at some point the parliament where they present the extra present an extra budget where they call it parliament supplementary budget where parliament was supposed to approve. Parliament will put a hold. Then we get some small draw at Parliament. Parliament demand for the I column, the pay slip of finance from the Ministry of Finance, for some pay slip of ministers and all that thing, and they were examining the pay slip. You know what thing happened? My first tells me that during that time when they come, they assess some salary up for ministers, deputy ministers, the way they call. So the MP they don't grumble say, in fact, like KKY start to grumble, say the salary is small for members of parliament. Then before they even take the oath of office, after way the next they announce the way they call, they get a parliamentary for introduce the new one them into the parliamentary process and procedure where they call. So when I come now, because the leaders of parliament, when they make you leader in a parliament for a party, for example, KKY is leader of NGC, Chekoko leader of APC, Lamina leader of C4C, leader of the government business. Those leadership, their leaders, and their own salary scale is different from the phone to burden. You get me? Then they get certain entitlements, they're entitled to vehicle, to security, and get some other allowances there. So whether one day happen for the Bagbato then, so the one day way affected now, the phone to burden, they be bounced. When they all meeting, they say they don't want the leadership there for the day. And you know, so them boku. So them bounce, now them become without confusion day. Now them be making out, they increase their money. They increase their money in 2018. They increase them in salaries in 2018. Improve conditions of service. They are demanding more. Amidst this turbulence where people and they will not get things for it, bruh. People and then at the country where they suffer, they suffer, bing, they suffer. Where they put in plain Creole language to emphasize, bing, they suffer. Then people are demanding more. They are demanding more. Now for themselves, no more that. Right. So let nobody know twist our story though.
Okay. So quick one in just 2 minutes, I want to just rub more on this thing. MMTU. We've been still say one audio be leak of the deputy the vice chancellor,
Vice Chancellor.
Yes. Dr. Philip Kon, John Kon, Kanu, and then we see Usai, other people like them, they try to undermine this man, but they say the courts don't find him not guilty and then don't reinstate and back. Because I be not senior one day, I don't talk say if then sit down, then sack this because interestingly, I follow then this from this same university, they been set up what they call SLPP Lecturers Union, where not supposed to be na the institution and politics. Afterward, when they find out that this man they try for do things the way they know, like they want for undermine them, set them up, record them secretly, all of them things, and they after that they protest against them for salary. But now they don't instate them. I don't know what thing that you view into all of this issue. In just quick one before we go.
Now man we don't come under the very set man from that time. You could recall where the lecturer then where they're accused of sexual abuse.
Yes, please.
Of them picking their way, they say they demand sex for grades or whatever you. I think say in my view, because to be embarrassed and disgrace the lecturers and those guys are fighting back. Because even that statement was not supposed to be made public. That way they call it just they could do that way the mayor himself been talking that in Boa business stuff.
Yes.
That one will be just within your own conclave no more. Secretly they record and then they leak them. Now the same thing, just like when you talk something no more, an opinion on when you think say this based on when they happen, like your institution, then they record that and simply because they thought that could undermine in placements at that institution there. So it's all about politics fighting at that institution there. And when you get somebody that is determined to ensure change and make that university there how university is supposed to be, for me, I give credit. Because when you see begin discipline in your lecturers them, where they falter, where students they see therefore land say, oh, this might not no nonsense man. They take rubbish. So the way they call you are there to go and lecture, the students are there to go gain knowledge. That student lecturer or student teacher relationship now for exist. Beyond that, I mean, you cannot be demanding the threatening Peking. Then, I mean, the video, they say, if you not come, it so time, so size. I mean, that module, you know the pattern. You can imagine. So I can imagine if not just on module normal, the modules already take. Now they threaten it. What about dissertation now? Where you go get forget supervisor? What about if you go meet up there a lucky supervisor where they say it's not do this issue dissertation, I know the watch out, I know the master, I know the grade you, I know the pass you para. So now so beaucoup picking at for non college you bra. You know funny. The thing I cut across. But I mean, and when they talk about this anti-fragile or protection of women where they call, I think them picking in the first place where they go later complain this so. That confidence where they must have for go report, to the principal and provide her with the evidence and, where make the principal be go report that matter in the police. I mean, them picking and they then deserve to be protected in that institution because I concern more about the lead and all.
So I think the good thing for the picking them now the fact that this man they don't reinstate them back.
The lecturer don't reinstate them.
Yes, because if they not be able to do this back then picking them they for don't be another victim again.
Yes. So I look forward to how again for continue a rebranding process of the institution and bringing lecturers there will not only get the academic qualification experience but people with integrity, for team up in their classroom and give lectures.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawrence. As I done the run after the time, so you go able for you to join your program where you want to attend. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for you taking time for joining me inside the program this morning. In name na Lawrence Williams, na the big man inside the Freedom Post, where you don't join me inside the program this morning. We appreciate you. God bless you and get yourself a wonderful day. When I also really left the program this morning until we meet again inside another beautiful edition of the program. Couriers, I want to say plenty thank you to the producer Wena Elias Abba. My name is Sembepe, the Freedom Fighter. God bless you, country Sierra Leone, where we can call we are. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and as well, not forget for with this now we bad them. Now we bad them months and don't come so bra. We bad them months don't come. So don't forget for as well join we in a net for we talk about this particular thing. Well, until we meet again, me na Sembepe, the Freedom Fighter. God bless you, country Sierra Leone, where we call we are.
This song come up from Madam Sidratu Aminata Kamara from the United States of America. It is dedicated this song to one of the biggest organizations in the world, WEARD.
Yeah, made a crack on the mix.
91 big boy Pekin.
It's your never time to see the ball. Daily days, 091. Yellow flag TVs.
Hallelujah.
Come on. We are the organization. Don't come for every nation. We are the organization. Don't come for promote the nation. They know they mix my politics. They know they pass tribalism. They know they mix my politics. Yeah. They know they pass no tribalism.
This now we hard. Don't can now we land. So la we all and fine. This now we hard. Don't can now we land. So la we all and fine.